William had conquered England, crushed rebellions, and built a kingdom through force. But in 1087, now aging and at war once again, the conqueror was approaching an enemy no army, castle, or crown could defeat. More than 20 years had passed since Hastings. William now ruled England while still controlling Normandy across the Channel. His empire was powerful, but holding together lands on both sides of the sea demanded constant vigilance. William's final crisis came not from England, but from France. A bitter dispute with King Philip I drew the aging conqueror into one last campaign, a campaign from which he would never return. In the summer of 1087, William gathered his forces and rode toward the French town of Mons. William's relationship with King Philip I of France had long been uneasy. By 1087, disputes along Normandy's eastern frontier had pushed the two rulers toward confrontation, drawing William into war once again. According to later chroniclers, Philip mocked William's increasing weight while the Norman king was unwell. Whether the insult happened exactly as recorded is uncertain, but William's response would be anything but restrained. Despite his age and declining health, William chose war. He gathered his Norman forces and moved into the disputed territory of the Vexin, determined to punish his enemies and defend Normandy's frontier. William's forces advanced into the French Vexin and reached Mantes, a strategically important town on the Seine. The conqueror who had invaded England 21 years earlier was now preparing for his final attack. William's army attacked Mantes, and fires spread through the town. But amid the destruction, the campaign suddenly turned against the king himself. Somewhere within these burning streets, William suffered a devastating injury. William survived the attack, but his final battle was already over. Seriously injured, the conqueror was carried away from Mantes. Within weeks, the man who had transformed England would be dead. According to chroniclers, William's horse suddenly stumbled or reared amid the burning town, throwing the king violently against his saddle. The impact caused a serious internal injury, one from which the aging conqueror would never recover. William's campaign ended almost immediately. Unable to continue fighting, he was taken away from Mantes and eventually brought to ruin. For the first time in his extraordinary career, military determination could no longer save him. William was taken to the priory of Saint-Gervais near Rouen, where his condition worsened. The warrior who had survived decades of rebellion and warfare now lay confined to bed, surrounded by monks, physicians, and his closest followers. Behind him lay an astonishing life: Normandy, Hastings, the English crown, rebellions crushed, and a kingdom transformed. But as William's strength faded, another question became urgent: what would happen to everything he had built? William had 3 surviving sons, but no simple succession. Robert, William Rufus, and Henry each had ambitions of their own. As their father approached death, the future of England and Normandy suddenly became uncertain. By September 1087, William knew his time was running out. He began settling his affairs, distributing his possessions, and deciding which of his sons would inherit the lands he had spent a lifetime winning. By early September 1087, William understood that he was dying. After more than 50 years as Duke of Normandy and 21 as King of England, the conqueror finally began preparing for a world without him. William divided his legacy. Normandy would pass to his eldest son, Robert. William Rufus was sent toward England, where he would seek the crown, while the youngest son, Henry, received a substantial fortune. On the morning of 9 September 1087, William the Conqueror died near Rouen. The boy who had inherited a dangerous duchy had become the king who permanently changed the course of English history. His death produced an extraordinary scene. According to Orderic Vitalis, many of those around William hurried away to protect their own interests. The mighty conqueror's household rapidly dissolved once its master was gone. William's body was eventually taken to Caen, the Norman city closely connected with his rule. There, at the Abbey of Saint-Étienne, preparations began to bury one of medieval Europe's most formidable rulers. But even William's burial would not pass peacefully. His funeral became a strangely chaotic final chapter, an ending almost as dramatic as the life that had come before it. William was brought to Caen for burial at Saint-Étienne, the great abbey he himself had founded. Yet even now, the conqueror's final journey would be interrupted by no royal ceremony could completely control. According to the chronicler Orderic Vitalis, a fire broke out in Caen as the funeral took place. Many mourners rushed away, leaving the king's burial ceremony disrupted before it had even properly begun. Then came an extraordinary objection. A local man named Asselin claimed the burial ground had been taken unjustly from his family and refused to allow William's grave to be closed until compensation was paid. The funeral grew stranger still. Chroniclers claimed William's body proved too large for the stone tomb, and attempts to force the burial caused a deeply unpleasant scene, an undignified ending for Europe's mighty conqueror. At last, William the Conqueror was buried. But the kingdom he had fought so brutally to secure did not pass intact to one heir. England and Normandy were separated, and rivalry was already beginning. William was gone, but his story was not. 3 ambitious sons now stood in the shadow of their father, and the struggle over his divided inheritance would determine the future of Norman England. William was dead, but the England he had created remained. Castles dominated its landscape, Norman lords controlled its estates, and a new ruling elite had transformed the political structure of the kingdom forever. William Rufus moved quickly. Within weeks of his father's death, he crossed to England and was crowned William II. But across the Channel, his elder brother Robert controlled Normandy. Their father's realm was divided. Robert had Normandy. William Rufus had England. Henry had money, but no kingdom. 3 ambitious brothers now faced one another across their father's inheritance, and peace between them would prove remarkably difficult to maintain. William's conquest changed far more than England's king. Land ownership, castles, government, aristocracy, and even the language of power were transformed. The England that emerged after 1066 would never again be the England that existed before it. Born an illegitimate duke surrounded by enemies, William became one of medieval Europe's most powerful rulers. His methods could be ruthless, his legacy remains contested, but few individuals changed English history as profoundly as William the Conqueror. The Conqueror's story was over, but England's struggle for power was not. William Rufus now wore the crown, and almost immediately, rebellion, family rivalry, and a mysterious royal death would begin another extraordinary chapter. William conquered a kingdom, but he could not control what happened after his death. The crown had passed to his son, and Norman England was about to discover that succession could be every bit as dangerous as conquest.